Welcome everybody to another edition of Amplify Your Business. On today's show, we're going to be talking about mentorship. And there's a really unique program happening over at the University of Alberta. It's called Threshold Impact VMS. And so on today's show, we have three people who are going to be joining us. Normally we only have one or two, so this is going to be a great show. And so we have the manager over there of the program, Lazina. Do you want to just give a wave so people can see who you are? Perfect. And then we have Roberta, who is actually a mentor in the program. Thanks, Roberta. And we have Charles, who is a mentee. Thank you, Charles. And so on today's show, we're going to talk about what this program is all, entailed and basically what the mentors and the mentees are doing in it. But first off, let's find out a little bit more about just the program, how it came about, and what really is happening over there that's so unique, because it is something very different than most other mentorship programs. So Lazina, why don't you give us a little rundown as to what you guys are doing over there?
Yeah, thanks, Lance. This is exciting to be here. I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm very pleased, and I feel like I have the privilege to run and lead the VMS program, the Threshold Impact Venture Mentoring Service program. That's a mouthful. So we narrow that down to Threshold Impact VMS and then VMS. And so this program, yes, it's an MIT-based program. It started at MIT in Boston 20 plus years ago as a way to support research and researchers and inventors with their IP, help them commercialize and think like business people and think like entrepreneurs. And so that's how this mentorship program was originally created. And so that program there has existed for, yes, over 20 years. And a number of years ago, I think it was over 10 years or so, they were getting a lot of inquiries from around the world of like, talk to us or tell us about the success of this program. And then they chose the route of helping others also create mentorship programs for entrepreneurs. And so that's how this came about, where they then did create an outreach program and supported others. And now, all these years later, 2021, there are, at least in my latest knowledge, there's 104 sister VMS programs around the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so the VMS program within the UofA, now renamed about a year and a half ago to Threshold Impact Venture Mentoring Service, and we can talk about what that rename is all about. That's existed here for over 7 years in this university. And the way that it came about, I can share a little bit about that. The way that it came about here, of how did we even get a connection to MIT's VMS program? Like, I can share a little bit about that.
Yeah,
there was some thinking within the Office of Alumni Relations at the University of Alberta around how do we connect with a different group of alumni, and that group happened to be, of course, entrepreneurs. And so that was one piece of thinking that was happening separately within the business school. There was some research that was being done, a study that was being done around the economic impact around entrepreneurship and the benefit of that to the city of Edmonton. So that was another piece. And then a third piece, which was really important, is that Dr. Ray Muzica, some people know that he is the co-founder of BioWare, a video game giant, sold the company, and some years later decided to come to the university to figure out how can he engage and how can he give back. So that's sort of like the perfect storm of things that happened. There are a few other things too, but those were the key things that happened. And at the time, the VP of Advancement, the Office of Advancement in the university, had heard about this program, this MIT VMS program. So there was then a group of people, which included Ray. Off they went to MIT to go learn about this program, and that was the genesis. That was how this program came to be at the UofA. So we were able to connect with that program. We were able to bring it back here and then pilot it here. And so from that period of time, those that were involved in the program from the very beginning, which did include Ray in a volunteer way, were able to put together the bones of the business model of this mentorship program that we received from MIT and pilot it here. And we've not looked back, I have to say, since then. So it's been over 7 years, and I know both Roberta and Charles can speak to some of that experience of being part of this. But yeah, that's how this program came to be here at the UofA.
So that's really interesting. Now, being that it's a U of A program, does that mean there's some restrictions on who can be part of the program?
Yeah, so the way that works, I can share some of that. So there's two main groups of people that would be interested. One would be mentors, and we capitalize the word mentor because we use it as the noun, which is the true form of that word. There's a lot of meaning for us behind how we use the word capital M, mentor. But yeah, so there's two groups. One is mentors, and those are business leaders from across the city. And more and more, of course, with this year of COVID, that group can be beyond the city of Edmonton, but typically those are alumni from the U of A. And I have to say it's actually beyond alumni from the U of A. So when a mentor, a business leader who wants to come to us to give back some time and help entrepreneurs like Charles, they don't necessarily have to be alumni of the U of A. They have to basically just want to help other people.
Okay.
And Roberta can talk to you a little bit about, like, I just want to help others for whatever the reasons are. There's a few different reasons we tend to hear over and over why people want to give back. But yeah, you don't have to be alumni as a mentor in our program. And on the flip side of that, our second audience, or our second group that we connect with, we call these our more or less our clients, are Charles and others like Charles who are entrepreneurs in this program. They're the ones that we're providing the service to of mentorship. And so those that apply to this program, entrepreneurs that do apply, they over 90-something%, I even want to say like 98, 99, like a very high number. Maybe it's not quite that high, but it's pretty high. They are alumni of the U of A. And that's how we initially built the program and sort of marketed it to alumni who happen to be entrepreneurs of the University of Alberta. But it goes a little bit beyond just alumni of the U of A. You can be affiliated with the U of A because you're a faculty member, you're doing research. So maybe you're a master's student. So anywhere in that space where you're working on whatever your IP is, or maybe you're a student or a staff member of the University of Alberta. So those are sort of the key audiences there. And you're trying to like build a business. And so those are some of there's many more, but those are some of the key requirements of for us to consider you to come into this program.
Okay. Well, sounds really good. Now, when it comes to the program itself, what are some of the goals that you have for the program in terms of, the number of mentors or mentees? And maybe if it is possible for you to speak to over the years that it has been running, how many people have you guys connected together as well? That would be an interesting stat.
Yeah, so this program started with, again, with Ray as our founding mentor, and he connected with a number of business leaders within his network and through the university support to have 20 founding mentors of this program. So there are 20 people who started this program, and it was a pilot group of 9 entrepreneurs that started. And so there's some, process testing that we went through. Those that first started this program, what kind of entrepreneur are we looking for? What are sort of the criteria that we look for? What's the right sweet spot that we can offer as the service of mentorship? And so there's a lot of testing that happened in the very beginning, just like any business when you're, developing a product or a service.
Yep.
We went through a very similar process that way. So that's how it started, with 20 mentors and 9 entrepreneurs, so 9 companies. And we've grown over 7 years to over 115 mentors. I think we're sitting at 119 mentors right now, and we have 48 companies in this program. And so I will share that on the mentor side, we don't tend to have a lot of turnover, meaning we don't have a lot of mentors who decide that this is not, a volunteer effort that they want to be part of any longer. Typically when someone comes to us, and I can talk about why that is, but typically when someone comes to us, say, yes, I put my hand up, I want to volunteer with this for the many reasons that people share with us, they typically find that this is a valuable use of their time. And I'm curious to hear from Roberta on that piece of, like, this is time. That's our most valuable resource. So why does someone like Roberta choose to volunteer her time to help someone like Charles, for example? And so we don't have a lot of turnover on the mentor side. We tend to find that our mentors really, like this opportunity. There's a lot of rich learning, and I'm sure we'll get into that from Roberta's perspective of, that rich learning, contributing your time as a mentor. So I think that's a really important piece. And also the second piece I would say is the community. Like, once you're on the inside of what this program is, it's a very rich and deep community. And it's like people that's not only in your business network, but people you actually like and maybe want to be friends with. So there's like a rich piece there that we know keeps our mentors involved in this program. And, you could put your volunteer effort towards anything, go volunteer at the Red Cross or whatever, like anything. And so that's an important piece. And then on the entrepreneur side, there's I think a lot of value there, which I'm curious, and I know some of it, but I'm happy to hear from Charles, and I'm happy for you to hear from him on why do you come and, spend your time with us? So yeah, I think it's just all around a lot of value for everyone involved in this program.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, and let's jump actually over to Roberta right now, and just Roberta, welcome. I'd like to hear a little background on yourself. So, what are you doing? You must be in the business community in some sense. So, tell me a little bit about your background, I guess, and then why you wanted to get involved as a mentor.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you, Lizina, for including me in this program today. So I'm the CEO and co-owner of BGE Indoor Air Quality Solutions, and
Okay.
we're based here in Edmonton. We're a second generation family business, and headquartered here in Edmonton with 7 locations across Western Canada. And our purpose every day is to deliver clean, healthy indoor environments. And so if we think about 2020 and our wonderful friend COVID-19, we're working really hard with our customers to make sure that they have, clean air for people and places. So especially as we're returning people to school and to their workplaces, making sure that they're safe. And how we do that is we're a manufacturer and a distributor of air filtration products, and we're also a service provider. So we make sure that those filters are installed properly. We have a number of different filtration programs, and we marry that with other things such as HEPA certification, indoor air quality monitoring, and all the solutions around those products and equipment that we deliver to the marketplace.
Very
Um,
timely, like you said, with the pandemic and everything, for sure.
yeah, no, it's been probably the most important and craziest time of our business where, oftentimes in a business you're trying to compete on price and
Hmm.
trying to compete on all the different competitive factors, but everyone's becoming an expert in terms of clean air and indoor air quality, and so I always believe an educated customer is the best type of customer to have. So we're having a lot of fun, a lot of stress, making sure that we're helping our customers. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing that. So now, what motivated you to get involved with this program? Actually, I'd love to hear, when did you start? Have you been a long-term mentor?
I've been in the program, I believe it's probably 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
I have a number of ties to the U of A. I'm a U of A grad. I graduated with my BCom. We also work with the U of A in terms of helping them with all of their air filtration needs. So we have 4
Yep.
people on campus every day, making sure that the U of A is safe. And I've really benefited from a lot of mentorship and a lot of different programs through the U of A. So I was actually speaking at an Eric Getty's session on succession planning and family business, and Alex Say, who was, or Arden, who was the manager at the time of the program, approached me and said, "Hey, we have this program called VMS at the time, and we're looking for mentors. It helps these entrepreneurs with mentorship on as they're growing their businesses." And I said, "Mentor? I'd love to be a mentee." I've really benefited from mentors, whether people just reached out and said, "Hey, I'm always happy to have a coffee with you," or through more formal mentorship programs. So I always knew the value of that. And I've always been appreciative of what I've received. And so I saw this as an opportunity to give back, like Lizina said, and just really was in awe of the program and thought how important this is, especially entrepreneurs starting out. Sometimes it's an easy answer to the problems they're trying to solve,
Mm.
but they haven't been down that route before. So just being able to work out a question and not feel like, oh, I don't want to pick up the phone and bother them. They're really busy people. That's really where I thought that I could be helpful. So I've been with three ventures throughout, currently working with 2 of them. So I was with BioHemp Futures, and currently I'm working with Selenium Interiors, and I'm working with Comet Pharmaceuticals. And I am just in awe of these entrepreneurs. So I'm really enjoying the work with them, really enjoying that I can provide some advice and some support. And I also find, lifelong learning is important to me. So I
Mm.
feel that, with working with these entrepreneurs, I'm learning something, also working with the network, because there's usually about 3 to 4 mentors that are working with that entrepreneur.
Oh,
So
sure.
you learn so much from the value of that. And then, like Lizina said, that large network of mentors, it's created just an amazing community for entrepreneur spirit.
Yeah, so that is very unique in terms of having multiple mentors helping a mentee. So I'd imagine that's probably one of the core differences, Lizina, from this program versus a lot of the other mentorship programs that I've been aware of or been participating in.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's part of the MIT model.
Yeah.
And so those that are sister programs, sister VMS programs, that's a key pillar of the program, that it's group mentorship. We don't offer one-on-one mentorship. And there's many reasons for that. The biggest reason, and Roberta said this, and this is one of the earlier points of, there's a lot of learning that happens when you have many people sitting around the table, and not just learning for the entrepreneur, though there's a lot that happens there. There's learning that everybody gets out of this, because you're hearing such different perspectives around the table, and you're like, oh, I never thought about that way.
Yeah.
And so that's a very important piece to us, that we have different voices. And so we care very deeply about diversity of like experience around the table, and just diversity period. So we try to make sure that we're drawing on business leaders who definitely, are qualified, seasoned, have the chops to kind of sit at the table, but that diversity of their background and all of the experiences that you bring to the table is really important to us. And I would say that there's two other pieces, and maybe I'll just not clarify, but just share, because I think this is an important piece of what the business model around this particular mentorship program is it's really about not just helping an entrepreneur grow their business, and Charles can speak to this. It's not about necessarily helping the entrepreneur grow their business. It's helping you grow your mindset around entrepreneurship. And helping you become a better entrepreneur. So we really take the position of helping an individual rather than helping your business. We hope that by growing your thinking, helping you be a better leader, that those pieces that you ask questions on and you dig into some of the challenges that you have, that helps you be better in your business.
Okay.
So that's a really, it kind of feels a little bit gray, but that's a really important piece to us. We're helping you, the individual, rather than your business.
Okay.
And then I would say the other key piece, and maybe I'll stop after this piece. The key piece here is we do that by helping our mentors coach an entrepreneur. And so that doesn't mean that you're only coaching, but taking a strong coaching position. And so that we actually offer coaching training, executive coaching, to all of our mentors. We want them to go through this training. It's just a day training. It's probably one of the best PD opportunities you will have. And both, I think, Roberta and Charles actually have been through this training. We offer it to some of our entrepreneurs as well who have team members. A reason why we do that coaching piece and offer that training is that there's common language and a common mental model when many people are sitting around the table. So everyone knows what's happening. It's not just about mentors telling the entrepreneur, do this worked for me in my business, this will work for you, do that. It's about helping a person go through problems that they're having and having them see maybe some different options. They, as Roberta said, like they might not even have known some of those things were in front of you right now. So that's why it's nice to have that around the table, and common language and common mental model around what is it that we're actually offering when it comes to mentorship.
Yeah, excellent. I love it. And it almost forms, having all those mentors, it's like an informal board almost for yourself, it sounds like, as far as
for yourself. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're very specific on, if your business is growing to a point where you might have a board of advisors in place for the business, or board of directors, that's awesome. It doesn't prevent you from also having your mentorship team for you as the leader trying to grow that, because you will say very different things to a group of people who are there for you than you would to your board of advisors for your business. And so we think that's a nice compliment when companies grow, entrepreneurs grow large enough that they can potentially have both.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a bunch of questions for you, Charles, but let's start out by you introducing your business as well, and when you started the program.
Sure. Lance, thank you so much for having me today. I started the program just a little over 1 year ago. And I was at a point in my company, CarePros, where I had left corporate Canada for less than a year. And I was now a full-time entrepreneur for under a year. And I was at a junction where in those past 9 months or so, I had grown my company from 30 people to 130 people and was in need for some mentorship. So just a little bit of background. CarePros, we are a accredited social services provider, and we support children and youth with mental and physical disabilities and their families with respite and complex group home care. We take a trauma-informed approach as well as a strengths-based approach. And our goal is to really empower individuals with disabilities to create personal success for their lives from childhood to adolescence and then a smooth transition into adulthood, striving for independency, self-efficacy, inclusion, empowerment, and also employment for these individuals. So it started to embark on, I would say, a very meaningful journey. But from a business perspective, I was encountering four main things that I was really seeking mentorship on. One was how to scale a distributed workforce. Second was navigating government and how departments and the ministries and the politicians all work, as well as public relations. Number three would be navigating our growth strategy. And then number four was to create a culture that involved direct participation for key employees, especially in the form of profit sharing or a employee stock ownership plan. And came across Lizina and her team, and through a series of conversations, I realized that VMS was really a no-brainer for me and my company, especially tapping into. I think at that time the program probably just crossed 100 mentors or so. So based on what Lizina shared, the program has grown significantly in the past year as well.
Yeah, and
I was had an opportunity to share those four asks in the entrepreneur rally, where new mentors, new and old, get to listen to a pitch of an entrepreneur that is pitching for mentorship and not pitching for money. And had a chance to share my challenges, and within a few weeks, there were a few mentors who had threw their names in the hat to support my cause, and that's how the mentorship team was formed. So it's been a 1-year anniversary for me in the VMS program.
Well, congratulations. So that's really interesting. And so, Lizina, they basically, all of these 100+ mentors then will listen to the pitches from the new mentees, or at least the mentors who are probably have time on their in their agenda to or the calendar to be able to take on another mentee. And so then the mentees will all kind of present what their business is about, what their challenges are. And then if I was a mentor, I would then basically put my hand up in some form or another saying, yeah, I'd be interested in taking this mentee on. So,
absolutely. Yeah, that's how it works. So we, every second month, this sort of process to bring entrepreneurs and mentors into this program, it sort of ends with a specific event. And for the beginning of this year, that's happening next week for us. But it ends with a specific event that Charles just mentioned. And that's where we have, when we were pre-COVID, we had many mentors would show up for a lunchtime event, and they would listen to the entrepreneur candidates, we call them, because they're not yet in the program. They have to come and pitch. So our current mentors, and then the new mentors that we're also welcoming in, that's the time for us to kind of welcome and say, like, welcome to VMS. So that happens at that time too. But then, yeah, it's a mini form of Dragon's Den, but the nice version. Because what happens there is our mentors, of course, as Charles said, they're not there to kind of grill you on numbers and growth of the company. They're there in a very warm, and Roberta can speak to this. They're there in a very wonderful way to like help you. So when they hear you pitch and there's something that might resonate with a mentor, maybe they like you, maybe they like the business that you're in, they like you know, Charles very clearly stated these 4 things I need help with. So maybe one of those things is one of our mentors' area of expertise that they know that they can help you with. So whatever the reason is, there's something that resonates between one of our mentors and the entrepreneur that's pitching. But our mentors simply want to put their hand up and help. And we hear that over and over and over again. Yeah. And so once we have, we typically have way more mentors put their hand up than we have space on a team. As Roberta said, it's sort of 3 to 5 people are sitting around the table with one company, one entrepreneur. Or co-founders, if there's co-founders of a company. So then it's my job and my team's job to sort of narrow that down and do like a matchmaking process, like it's March Madness time, and figure that out and do what's first and foremost what's best for our entrepreneurs. We always come back to the foundation of this program. We're here to serve Charles. Yeah. And so we want to make sure that we do right by him.
Very good.
First and foremost.
And so Roberta, then how long will you work with an entrepreneur, a mentee, before you transition basically off that board of advisors, essentially?
Well, I don't think there's actually a time limit to that, but with our first excuse me, with the first mentorship or venture that I worked with, unfortunately that their business just ended, and they said, we're going to think about doing something else. So that happened. I know with Selenium Interiors, they had a whole mentor team, and they were changing mentor teams because that mentor team helped them get to a point, and they had a new, I guess, a new vision that they wanted to. So they came to an amicable understanding that we're going to transition. And then, I thought I had some time on my dance card. So I said, you know what, I'm enjoying so much what I'm doing with Selenium. I'd like to take on one more. And so I showed up again. I mean, I enjoy going to those rallies or pitches anytime, but I did have some availability. And so I went to that and saw, where would my time best fit? So one of those things for like Lazina said, us as mentors, we want to help, but we want to make sure we are helpful. And so with Selenium, they're a husband and wife combo founders of this kitchen and cabinet manufacturing business. So for me I work with my husband operationally in the business. So maybe there's some things I could impart and some shared experiences of where we stumbled or where things have worked well. And then also being a manufacturer in Edmonton, I'm always excited about that. And then the other one is Comet Pharmaceuticals, and she's trying to solve one of the big problems in this world. And she's looking at modular manufacturing to make pharmaceuticals in Africa. So I don't know if I'm that helpful in this. I'm still trying to figure that out, but I do know what is required when you're manufacturing pharmaceuticals and that level of clean air and sterility that you need. So that's kind of how that worked. I just think it's going to those pitches. It is so inspiring to see what's happening right here in Edmonton.
I bet.
And I think too, sometimes we have the opportunity that we can, as mentors, maybe not for, say, specifically Charles's business, I might hear about what Charles is doing. I go, hey, here's a few nuggets that I thought about when I was thinking about your business. Or maybe somebody in the community and you go, you know what, you should become a mentor and you should help this business because they would really benefit from that.
Yeah, so it's beyond almost the what's happening in that room or in the mentorship, the official mentorship program. You're still making those connections that are going to benefit that mentee, whether the mentee is your mentee or not. It sounds like, am I getting that right then, Roberta?
Yeah, I mean, I think like Lazina said, it's such a positive environment. And, we've always thought of the business world as cutthroat and competitive and all that sort of thing. We all want each other to succeed and we want to help each other do that. And especially when we look at this year, like Lazina said, again, the priority is for these entrepreneurs. And that's why this program is here. But it's successful when the mentors are healthy too. And so this whole year, this VMS program has been a great resource and a great network and a great learning environment for everybody as we're navigating this pandemic.
Uncharted territories.
Yeah.
I want to jump in for one sec, Lance, and just kind of build on that when we talk about partnerships and just like kind of extending that. I think one thing that we've been very good at since the very beginning is not just working in a silo. We live in an entrepreneurial ecosystem within Edmonton, like that's where VMS lives. And one thing we're very good at is being complementary. That's why, when I was saying kind of you can have a board of advisors and still maintain the mentorship team that you want, those are complementary things. And so something we spent a lot of time on in the last couple of years is what else, very much to what Roberta just said, like what else can we offer to both our mentors and entrepreneurs where it's beyond the walls of what VMS has to offer, which is significant. I have to say the amount of expertise in this group is significant, but it helped us sort of step into more and more into the business community, which of course we have 119 mentors in our program. We're well in the business community in that sense. But we've been able to partner with a few organizations and now not just have sponsorship for this program, which is very important to us to be sustainable long-term, but we're able to then create strong partnerships in the community where we can offer services, expertise to our mentors and to our entrepreneurs. So I do want to highlight that just a little bit because it's been an important step for us in terms of growth of the service that we're offering. And I would say the deepening of the value that we're able to offer when we connect with our partners who right now are MNP, who are dentons and TD. These are significant partners for us that bring a ton to the table. And I'll give you an example, and Charles can speak a little bit more to this. We're able to offer a lot because of a strong partnership. And I use the word partnership more than sponsorship, because that indicates one particular thing, but we kind of very strongly integrate with each of our partners and offer a service that's mutually beneficial. And so a recipient of that benefit that we're receiving from the MNP partnership is Charles. He's had a very positive relationship with that organization in particular, who is a strong partner to our VMS program. So that's something that we've done to sort of be collaborative, because I think we're a very collaborative program, to say that we're a significant partner and supporter within the city of Edmonton to entrepreneurs. And that has led to some pretty interesting things recently. And we just see that as sort of like the beginning of how can we be much more collaborative and integrate with other groups that are also trying to achieve similar things to us, to supporting entrepreneurs in the city and thinking more about like learning and development. That's important to us.
Yeah, well, that's really good. Now, so Charles, when it comes to your business, your experience, it's been a year, you said, so you're hitting that 1 year mark of being a participant in this program. What has the program enabled you to do in terms of your business and your personal growth?
I think the program has been instrumental in helping me expand my mindset as an entrepreneur. I remember meeting my mentor group once in person, and we very quickly switched to a virtual platform. And I had a team of mentors who were, with their experience, and it was new for everybody to navigate a growing company in the midst of a pandemic. And it was a lot of challenging the status quo, exploring various pivots, and really critiquing my thinking in terms of our original strategic plan for 2021. How do we ensure sustainability of the organization? But like Lazina was referring to, the VMS mentors were also extremely concerned about my mental health and well-being. And during the past year, it was constant support. So I hit the ground running with my very engaged mentorship team, who were meeting with me on a monthly basis. And that's accelerated because the suggestion was really probably maybe 6 to 8 weeks for a meeting. My team was extremely engaged, and we met twice the frequency in 2020. And during that time, each meeting in the 4 weeks, so many things were happening that the mentors were constantly having to readjust. So in the program, what was really telling was the 4 asks that I had, those were quickly tackled, and we moved on to new challenges. And that was number 1. Number 2, I found myself quickly in the example that Lazina was sharing, where I had a team of VMS mentors, but also an advisory board who was focused on my business. And it was great to navigate through that, because I could spend more time worrying about me with the VMS mentors, and then worrying more about my business with the advisory board. And that support was very critical. And number 3, mapping out the course of the pandemic and its impact on CarePros. CarePros is an essential business. We kept running, and we were extremely fortunate to be able to continue growing very rapidly in the midst of the pandemic. And some of the initiatives, such as the employee stock ownership plan, we had implemented that within 7 months. But then new challenges came about, dealing with an advisory board, how to maximize its effectiveness, to a strong focus on people and culture, diversity and inclusion, especially with a massive social justice crisis that was happening around the world. And that was hitting very close to home for CarePros. More than 50% of my staff are part of the BIPOC community. And that was really important for our team. So part of that, Lazina was involved in reshaping my mentorship team within 6 months of operations, just because of the growing needs of care pros. So I have a very dynamic VMX experience. And then to speak to the partnership, one of the early partners from the VMS program that I had engaged with was M&P. And just right before the pandemic, they had offered me a virtual innovation workshop that included probably a team of 5 or 6 people from their firm.
Oh, wow.
And they volunteer 2 hours of their time each. And we're talking about individuals who were senior managers and partners and practice leads from a technology perspective, from succession planning and employee stock ownership plans to cybersecurity and IT, and really taking a holistic view of care pros despite a lot of the uncertainty that all companies were faced with. And I think we navigated through 8 various hot topics that were most relevant to care pros. And most of it was complimentary, but I decided to take them on as really a partner to implement some of the initiatives that were on my initial ask at the entrepreneurship, the pitch rally. And ended up working with their management consulting team, to their auditing team, to building out the employee stock ownership plan, to having a cybersecurity strategy. And these were all elements that I would say probably wouldn't have happened this year without being involved in the VMS program. So that was a significant value add for me as an entrepreneur to grow and learn a lot of these aspects, and also making a material impact on my company.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, the benefits of this program are absolutely huge in the business community. And this is one of the things that when I have the opportunity to talk to, various different types of entrepreneurs at different stages of their business, one of the things that I find that separates the ones that have, wild success and are on really growing quickly, even through pandemics, even through some of the downturns that we've had, versus those who've struggled, is it's the community, how much they're tapping into the community, the support that's there. And I loved what one of you said. I can't remember if it was Roberta or Lazina there, just in terms of the marketplace. Like, we often think that it is cutthroat business, right? But the reality of it is anytime that I have an opportunity to talk to other entrepreneurs, I'm always there, willing to give advice and wanting to support, and oftentimes the biggest booster, even with some competitors, so it's not as cutthroat as what we maybe think that it is. It's not what we see in the movies, at least not in the Edmonton region here. We are a very, a tight group. It's a small group, very willing to help out your neighbor, so to speak, even though you might be in a similar business. Because at the end of the day, it seems like there's enough business for everybody. We just kind of elevate ourselves together if we work together in some form or another. So I love this aspect. I think that this program is just really inspiring in terms of how quickly, too, Lazina, you were able to pivot in Charles's case there, to, bringing in additional mentors as he needed it, as he was basically checking off all the things that he had on his priority list. That's unique. That's very unique from a mentorship program.
Yeah, we are. So I'll speak a little bit to that. The group of people, including myself, of course, that run this program, we treat this like a business, like that we are growing our own business. And so we have to be responsive, just like Roberta or Charles would be in their business, and you would be in your business. You have to be responsive to your clients. So we are very quick to responding, as Roberta said, with one of the entrepreneurs that or co-founders that she's working with, when there was a need for a team change there, we react very quickly, just as you would in your business. You have to respond to your customers. And so we're very strict on and clear on that as well. So yeah, with both of you actually have had some team transitions. That's a very common thing that happens in this program. It's to be expected, because, like Charles said, within a year, he has need for different thinkers around the table for very particular business reasons. And so we have to respond to that very quickly. So it's just, I think that's just how you do business, right? You react to your customers' needs.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
So
if I could just add there too, one of the important things is that we evaluate ourselves and the mentor evaluates us at the end of every meeting. So did you get what you wanted out of the meeting? We talk about, do we feel that we, did our best in the meeting? So there is that constant communication back to the program,
Mhm.
whether it's, sharing it as a group, but also there's I guess a debrief time for the mentors, and there's a debrief time for the entrepreneur, so that the program can engage that and like Lazina said, respond quickly, but everyone knows that we're doing that. So it's transparent as well.
excellent. So, Roberta, I'm really curious as to what you would say to somebody who is considering being a mentor. What would you tell them? What would you encourage them to do, I guess, in this regard?
I'd probably encourage that along any of our own journeys, whether it's in business or just life, we've always had someone that's helped us along the way. And we can think about those difficult times or those exciting times, that encouragement, that support, that advice. So if you're interested in giving back because you've also had that, or because you love just teaching or just being part of something bigger than yourself, I recommend that you get involved. I think as we go through and we really work hard on our own businesses, I think sometimes we look past the business and we go, what else is there that I could use my expertise and use my time? And so if anyone's looking at, I'm a business geek, so I love talking about business, and I get to do this in I guess a charitable way, giving of my time. And so it just perfectly aligns with what I've looked at. I think to the University of Alberta for bringing this program. The University of Alberta is one of the best think tanks in the world. And so, and it's an important resource for Edmonton. And so I think it's also a great opportunity to be part of that, whether it's with this program or the other programs that they provide. So
Yeah.
I'd say those are probably the two things that I can think of. Maybe a third is, I believe the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well, and we need to raise that, and we need to feed it, and we need to put a spotlight on it. I think this is a great program to do so, especially those who have ideas but go, well, I'm not a business person, so I don't know if I should really take this idea. Now you've got a whole network that can help you through maybe some of those early pitfalls that people have taken and have failed and had to close down their business. We can maybe avoid that high statistic, and we can, Edmonton can have more success rate on those startups and
Yeah.
those early ventures.
Well said. Okay. So, Charles, how about you? What would you say to a fellow entrepreneur who is, struggling with something? They need some support. They've identified that, or, just that they have reached out to you and said, "Hey, I heard that you are part of this program. Tell me more about it." What would you say to them to encourage them to maybe take a shot at applying for this?
I think the first thing I want to mention is that the VMS program is the first opportunity that I've had to reconnect with the University of Alberta.
Hmm.
I've done schooling post my undergrad with my BSc, but it was really the first time to really reconnect with the main public institution here in Edmonton. So I think that alone was fairly special for me. Second thing, directly for entrepreneurs, I think the sign of reaching out for help and mentorship is a sign of maturing in the face of the entrepreneur. Recognizing that you don't know everything and you're not expected to know everything. But one of the biggest strengths I believe that an entrepreneur can develop is to recognize when that is the case and know where to look for that type of expertise. And that's whether or not it's from a program or hiring consultants or hiring smarter and better people around you. And the VMS program would be a very rich resource where an entrepreneur can really just by being engaged and be an active participant, be able to tap into an immense wealth of knowledge and experience where normally you wouldn't have, there would be just significant barriers to access the network of mentors that are in the program. And then the third thing I would say is that there's also a community of entrepreneurs where entrepreneurs are supporting one another. The companies come in all shapes and sizes, whether they are tech or tech enabled or are not very much tech driven. And I believe that VMS is also an inclusive space for various types of startups and companies. But within that network of entrepreneurs, there are going to be individuals who can support each other. Maybe when it comes to companies that are more product focused and navigating the shift to online strategy, or service-based companies that are tech enabled, and of course a lot of the tech companies and going through different rounds of financing, pre-seed and gearing up for Series A, and all these type of conversations where you don't have to wait for your mentorship meeting to happen. There's a lot of other entrepreneurs where you can ping on our Slack channel or taking some of the conversations more offline to have deeper and richer conversations where it's really an entrepreneur helping another entrepreneur.
Huge value. Okay, so Lizina, how does somebody become a mentor or a mentee? Is there an application process? What do you have to do?
Yeah, so I'll speak to both. So to be an entrepreneur in this program, of course, you have to be an entrepreneur. There's an affiliation with the UofA. That's an important piece. There's a number of criteria, and one that I would highlight that is very important to us, both in our mentors and on our entrepreneurs. And I'm curious to see a head nod from Charles and Roberta, because I think they'll agree. The humility piece, not having a strong not having that strong ego, being coachable, some of those pieces, that's very, very, very important to being an entrepreneur and mentor in this program. So we look for those things very, very strongly from the moment we meet you. It doesn't maybe feel like we're looking for those things, but it's like our radar is right up. So those things are really important to us. There is an official application process for entrepreneurs to connect with, and you can find it on the University of Alberta website. If you Google that plus Threshold Impact VMS, you can find that, or just email us at vms@ualberta.ca. We can connect you with that. So there's a bit of a process for entrepreneurs to go through, and those are the key things that we're looking for. Are you coachable? Can we coach you through something? Are you building something that can be scaled? Those are important pieces. On the mentor side, there is not an official application process. So the way that you connect with us, one, you can, again, through vms@ualberta.ca, you can connect with me. Typically, it's a referral process. So there's our current mentor pool, because we have a very strong and very specific and awesome, I would say, culture internal to the program. Our current mentors, if they so desire and think that there's someone within their own network who would be a really good fit with our current culture and way of doing things, our current mentors will refer their colleague, friend, business acquaintance to this program. And then there's a process that we go through there as well to see if there's a good fit and alignment between what their volunteer desires are and what the program is and what we offer. So yeah, for interest on either side, both mentors and entrepreneurs, there's definitely a way to connect with us, and we can have some conversations about, what does that look like, that alignment to what we do. But yeah, that's how you would connect and get involved with this, in my opinion, very awesome and quite prestigious program that we now have not now, we've had for many years at the UofA.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Thank you for that. And so I guess I would love to get some contact information, if possible, that Charles, you'd be willing to share if anybody wants to learn more about your business, your experience with the program potentially. How would they reach out to you?
People can feel free to reach out to me directly at charles@carepros.ca. Okay. And to learn more about what we do at CarePros and the impact we're making across Alberta, there's a blog, and I pasted the link here in the chat for people to subscribe. And our Instagram and Facebook handle is at CarePros AB.
Okay, fantastic. And Roberta, how about you? If anybody wanted to reach out to you, find more about your company and also about being a mentor.
Sure. If you want to know more about BGE, you can go to bgecleanair.com. And probably the best way to reach me, because my last name is quite difficult to spell the first couple of times, the best way to reach me is on LinkedIn. So reach out to me and send me a message. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me, because sometimes the email gets a little long through the day, but I'm always checking my LinkedIn first thing in the morning. So
Sounds good. Well, we'll put the links to those as well as the link to the program, and Lizina, the email address that you mentioned as well, into the show description. So anybody who's watching this, if you're watching it on the archive site, it'll be in the show notes just below the video. So thank you so much. I really appreciate all three of you taking the time out of your schedule. I know, Charles, you said that you're tuning in from a hotel in Banff as you're doing a socially distanced work employee kind of engagement day down there. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule and sharing your time, your experience with us. Roberta, it's always great to talk to people who are giving back to the community. And Lizina, it's just such a pleasure to hear that the university is putting this kind of focus and emphasis on a program that is helping small businesses, helping entrepreneurs, helping us grow this community, and really being a catalyst for great conversations, great learnings, and obviously growth in all these businesses that you guys are dealing with. So thank you all very much.
thank you.
Thank you, Lance. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Lance.
Okay, so that's a wrap, everybody. If you want to check out any other past episodes of Amplify Your Business, just head over to amplimedia.com/amplify, and you can check out all of the archived episodes over there, as well as any future ones will be there as well. So everybody stay safe and good luck in 2021. Take care.